Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of AKP Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ari here at Korea. We've already reached the All Star break in the NBA, starting tonight with the Celebrity Basketball Game and the Rising Stars Challenge. We'll get into all of that and this weekend's events. How are you doing today, Korea?
Good. As you said, it's finally, one of my favorite weekends of the year, All Star Weekend. Usually I'd be more excited for the dunk contest, but the way I was last year, we're not going to talk about it. But the 3-point contest should be really fun. Obviously, no, obviously a late scratch was Anthony Simons when he got injured. So I'm excited to see, how a big body like Julius Randle can do in a bunch of guards, dominated field. We also get to see guys like Buddy Hield, Dame Dawa, Jason Tatum, and all those guys. And we have the Rising Stars competition tonight. We have the Skills Challenge tomorrow as well. And then, all kind of wrapping up Sunday with the All-Star game. And, it's definitely, as we mentioned, a different kind of system because, they're going to be picking their teams like an hour before the actual game starts. So, we don't know who's on which team, but we only know the two captains, and it's out of the East. It's Giannis, but obviously he just got injured last night, so his status is a little bit questionable for Sunday. And then obviously LeBron James out of the West. So those are the two captains, and we know all the players who are the reserves and as well starters. So it'll definitely be a lot of intrigue to see this weekend in terms of how the All Star game and All Star weekend will be in Utah.
Yeah, so we'll get right into it tonight. We have the Jordan Rising Stars Challenge. I believe last year was the first year they did this format with the 4 teams. Maybe 2 years ago, I think it was last year though. So you got basically 3 teams are NBA players, and then 1 team is G League players. So you have Team Darren, you have Jalen Green, AJ Griffin, Bones Highland, Walker Kessler, Trey Murphy III, Alperen Sengun, and Franz Wagner. And then Team Joakim, you got Jalen Duran, Josh Giddey, Quentin Grimes, Evan Mobley, Jabari Smith Jr., Jeremy Sohan, and Jalen Williams. Team Pal, you got Jose Alvarado, Paolo Banchero, Scotty Barnes, Jaden Ivey, Benedict Mathurin, Keegan Murray, and Andrew Nemhard. And then you got Team Jason, the G Leaguers. You got CD Sissoko, Scoot Henderson, Mojave King, Kenneth Lofton Jr., Mac McClung, Leonard Miller, and Scottie Pippen Jr. I believe, if I remember correctly, I think it was like a round robin, I think, between the 4, or somehow that they all played each other, I believe, until they determined a winner. Korea, kind of looking at each of these 4 teams, who do you like the most, kind of overall top to bottom?
Yeah, you see, this is interesting because it's this whole new format, right? And it's you have, and it's led by veterans or guys who have played in the league and have retired because we have 4 different teams, one by Pau Gasol and his team with Banchero and Mathurin, Ivy, and these are obviously most of these guys are at least in their second year, guys like Scotty Barnes, Jose Alvarado, but then we have some rookies like Banchero, Mathurin, Ivy, Keegan Murray, Andrew Nemhard. That looks like a really, really good team. And obviously, we've seen how Scotty Barnes and his play in Toronto has been throughout his time. And then Jose Alvarado, everyone calls him like the sneakiest player in the league, just because he comes up behind you in the backcourt. He just steals the ball, and that's kind of his thing. And Keegan Murray is playing great. Benedict Mathurin is a Rookie of the Year candidate. Ivy's doing his thing. Team Pau is one of the strongest teams, I feel like, in terms of just the names and who is on that team, right? And obviously, the number 1 pick in Paolo Banchero, when he was doing his thing earlier in the season before he, kind of struggled a little bit. And then you have Team Darren Williams, right? And then, his is a lot more of rookie play. So we had Jalen Green, who was there, but is now being replaced by Ayo Dosunmu. So because Jalen Green got injured, but we have Franz Wagner, as you said, Trey Murphy III, AJ Griffin, Bones Highland, Walker Kessler. I like how they are not only including the rookies, but also players who are in their second years, right? And then Joakim Noah's team, he has Evan Mobley, Josh Giddey, Jalen Williams has been doing really good for that OKC team. Jeremy Sochan, been a big part of that Spurs, rebuilding for team. And then you have, obviously, this is a lot of G Leaguers, so not people will not know, who they are, but Jason Terry's team. And, I feel like, his is a very solid team when you look at some of the names like Scoot Henderson, who's going to be going in the draft, and then Kenny Lofton. And, he's been playing for the Memphis Hustle, and he's one of their best players. Obviously, Mac McClung, who's also in this year's dunk contest, and, Scottie Pippen Jr., who's been throughout the Lakers G League affiliate before, being called up and then, being sent down and all that stuff. And I kind of like how they're doing this format. And obviously, Ari, that it has tweaked a little bit, but it is kind of that round robin kind of style. But what it is, I think it's there's 3 games and there's a final target score, kind of like how the All-Star game is now. But instead of like a large one like 170, I believe the first 2 games between team A and B and C and D are 40. I believe.
So it's not round robin. It's just the 2 teams play each other like a semifinals, and then the 2 winners go to the championship.
Yeah, and so that's kind of how I think it's just a lot more simplified version, and the final target score of 25 will determine the tournament champion. So I think trying to make it as simple as it was, because I do remember last year, they did have that round robin kind of thing. I think that just complicated things. And so I think they just wanted to make it simple and, simplify it enough to where, people will still want to watch it, but at the same time, it's not, all these theatrics of what they're doing with all these young guys playing so many games throughout the night. But yeah, I definitely would say Team Pau is definitely one of the stronger teams, Pau Gasol's team, just with all the names that are there and all the talent, right, that's on that team. You have 2 teammates in Mathurin and Andrew Nemhard who play great together. You have Keegan Murray, who's been, one of the key factors for that Kings, resurgence this year. Alvarado, who has playoff experience. Scotty Barnes, who has playoff experience. And then obviously Jaden Ivey, who's been playing great for Detroit. And then Banchero, who's a Rookie of the Year candidate. I would definitely say Team Pau is one of the stronger teams. But, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they match up against maybe like a Team Joaquim, we'll have bigger guys or defensive guys like I believe Tari Eason, Mobley. We talked about Sochan and his defense, and then you get to see what these G League guys are, what they can do, because you don't get to see them on the big league stage or barely at all unless you have NBA TV and all that stuff. So. But I like how it's a different kind of system this year. I definitely like Team Pau just because of what they, just because of all the names that are there. But I think this is going to be a very, very interesting, kind of system because, it's a target score of 40. So that's pretty low. And that can be achieved pretty quick when you have a bunch of guys like Team Pau who know how to score, scorers, I should say. I feel like Team Pau definitely has an advantage there. If you're trying to go for the target score of 40 and then 25 in the championship round, I believe that'll take like 5-10 minutes. Honestly, like let's be real here. So, but I definitely would say that Team Pau is definitely one of the better teams.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That's the team that stood out to me as well. Obviously, you have just the name brand of a bunch of those players, and obviously, you have the name brand on. Obviously all 3 of the rookie and sophomore teams and all of that. But I think in terms of just overall upside and talent, I like Team Pau the most. But like you said, it's great that I think last year they added in the G League team, so that gives them, a spotlight that they don't normally get. I mean, obviously, a handful of the players I think a lot of people know, but really haven't seen them actually play quite as much. So. It'll be great to get to see them play, on national TV with everyone watching, All-Star Weekend, obviously. So that's tonight on Friday night tonight. So now we'll head into Saturday's events, and we'll start with the Skills Challenge. So we have three teams. We have the Antetokounmpos, Alex, Giannis, and Thanasis, I believe is how you pronounce his name.
Yeah,
And then you have
Thanasis.
Team Jazz, Jordan Clarkson, Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton. And then you have the team of the rookies, Paulo Banchero, Jay Ivey, and Jabari Smith Jr. So, the way this works is you have the three rounds. You have the relay round, you have a passing round, and you have a shooting round. And so obviously with this one, teamwork and chemistry means a lot in this round in this event to be able to win it. So obviously you have the chemistry of the brothers, obviously, and the teammates and the rookies. Korea. So who do you like out of this one?
Yeah, I feel like, it's kind of almost like deja vu, right? Because last year, when it was in Cleveland, we kind of got the same thing. It was the Antetokounmpos, obviously, with Thanasis, Alex, and Giannis. And then, it was team Cleveland, obviously, team Cavs, and then the rookies last year. And, I forgot how it played out, but I think the rookies did not do well, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't remember. Ari, do you remember
No,
how you
I
remember
don't
last year?
remember. I don't remember who won.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up the skills challenge nowadays. But yeah, I definitely like how it's kind of a different twist on it now with all the three different teams, and obviously you have the rookies who Jaden Ivey, Jabari Smith Jr., and Banchero, three of the top 5 picks in the draft. I mean, those guys are name talented, and they're doing their things, but this is obviously, as you mentioned, this is a coordinated, you got to have that chemistry, and, they've never really played together. So, you don't really get to have that or see that. But that's where the Jazz have that advantage because, yes, they're not all related like the Antetokounmpos, but, Jordan Clarkson, Walker Kessler, and Colin Sexton, they've been playing with each other all season. And so that chemistry is already kind of established there. And they're doing this on their home court. This is home for them, right? And that definitely has an advantage as well, just because you go through the motions of just shooting around during practice or up and down the court or for layup lines or whatever. And then you have the Antetokounmpos who obviously are trying to bounce back after not winning it, I believe, last year. Because last year I think it was Team Cavs that won it, and it was just because of the team chemistry that they have, and I feel like that's going to be a huge advantage for this Jazz trio. And even though I want to say the Antetokounmpos are going to bounce back this year, I think that Team Jazz just, I feel like not only the home court, just the fact that it's a team event and this team has been playing with each other all year versus obviously the Antetokounmpos where the younger one, Alex, has not been playing with Thanasis and Giannis, and then, the rookies are all on different teams. And, this is just a big advantage for those three Jazz players and Clarkson, Kessler, and Sexton on their home court. So I like how they twist. I feel like they could tweak it maybe a little bit more so it's not kind of obvious that the Jazz or the home team that's hosting the All-Star weekend is probably going to win it. But I do like the idea, but I'm going to go with Team Jazz here just because of kind of history of how home team alongside with, three guys who've been playing with each other all year are probably going to win it versus three other guys who have not been playing with each other all year.
Yeah, I mean, you can obviously make the argument that they have the quote unquote, advantage playing on their home court that they've been playing in all year and obviously playing together. But obviously that doesn't always, work out in this type of challenge where it's not your usual total, what you're doing in an actual game. I think I'm going to go with the rookies. I think just they're going to be excited to be out there, I think, and they're going to bring, I don't want to say the most energy because I think everyone's going to bring energy, obviously, but I just like the upside, I guess you could for lack of a better term, for them in this type of event where I think they're going to be ready, especially after already playing the night before in the Rising Stars Challenge. I think that they're going to be ready. So I'll go with the rookies. So now we'll go into the 3-point contest. So you mentioned some of the names earlier, but we got Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Kevin Herter, Damian Lillard, Lauri Markkanen, Jason Tatum, and then we have Julius Randle replacing Anthony Simons. Obviously, in this contest, when you're just running around picking up a ball off where it is, that's completely different than shooting in game, like catch and shoot, obviously. So normally, more times than not, you don't have the best in-game shooter, winning this contest because it's a completely different. Just your mindset's different when you're running around grabbing the ball versus and you have the time. Obviously, you have to worry about and all that compared to just shooting in game. So you have to keep that in mind, with this type of contest. So who do you like here, Korea?
Yeah, obviously, I know we've seen what Buddy Hield has done in these contests before, and he's put out great performances every time. So you can say him. Dame Dollar, obviously, his is kind of more like a Steph Curry kind of play, just pick up and shoot from wherever. And he definitely has that advantage being one of the better three-point shooters. So I like definitely Dame Dollar or Buddy Hield, I say. But if I was to sprinkle anyone out of the rest of the field, I definitely would maybe sprinkle Kevin Herter, potentially just because of his consistent shooting. And, there was that video where he hit, I think, like a three from, I think he hit like a three from his side of the court. And then he hit a half court shot. Then he hit like a three from the other side of the court. And it was just crazy. But, he definitely brings that ability. But I feel like Buddy Hield is definitely going to win this. Obviously, it's always been, is it going to be Steph Curry or Klay Thompson, two of the greatest shooters of all time. But now that they're both not in it this year, I feel like this finally has Buddy Hield's name written all over it. I know he did win it one time. What was that? I think 2021 or
2 or 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah. I know it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I know he won it then, but I feel like he is definitely one of the favorites for a reason, just because of how consistently he can make those and because of the experience he has. So if I was to put my money on anyone, the 2020 year, the Aaron Gordon dunk contest year, yeah. I'm gonna go with Buddy Hield, but I would also go with Dame Dollar, Damian Lillard, or Kevin Herter.
Yeah, I like Lillard in this one. Obviously, I mean, he's been on fire, as of like the last few weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And, obviously, like I said, it's different shooting in this contest versus in game, but I still feel like, he can translate still. I think he can translate anywhere with his shooting ability. And, when he catches fire, like we've seen with Curry before in the contest where he hits like 10, 12 in a row, Lillard can do the same thing. So I'm going to roll with Lillard in this contest. But there's definitely some sneaky, kind of players in this that could do better than I think most people think or want to believe or whatever. Like you were saying. But I'm gonna go with Lillard. So now we'll get into the Saturday night, the main event. Gone are the days where we have, truly the best players that would be for this contest, but we're here. So we got KJ Martin Jr., Kenny Martin Jr., Trey Murphy III, Jericho Sims, and I think that this is the first time ever that they've had a G League player in it, in Mac McClung. Obviously, McClung has seen some playing time in the NBA, but very limited. But McClung said that he has 2 dunks in mind that we've never seen before. So we'll see how. I mean, we know what his ability just as a pure dunker is, so that should be exciting. And then we got a big man in Jericho Sims, and then KJ Martin and Trey Murphy III. Who do you like here, Korea?
It's it just hurts. I even missed those team dunk contests back in like 2012 when they had like the Pacers team. Like I miss those days because I'm sorry, this sucks. This field stinks. I mean, and I thought last year was bad. I mean, Mac McClung, if you're gonna pull out some voodoo magic, then by all means. But after last year, I feel like we kind of only have to go up from here because I knew last year was going to be bad, but I mean, I didn't know how they had to. No, I mean, they had to get Mac McClung. I mean, they literally, it is so bad that they had to get guys who are in the G League because there is no interest from NBA players. And I can go on a rant about how they need to fix the dunk contest, but that's another story for another time. I like McClung. I've seen his ability to dunk, and he definitely has hops. And if he's gonna pull out something magical, might as well do it for your one time, because you're probably not gonna. I don't know what his stats are looking like in the G League, but I don't know if he's gonna be called up anytime soon. So I'm going to go with Mac McClung out of everyone here. Someone who I wish was here, but unfortunately is not in this, is Shaden Sharp. And I've seen his dunks, and his dunks are actually ridiculous. I believe he was in the dunk contest, but for a little bit, but I think he pulled out of the contest or didn't want to do it. I don't know what happened there, but it just comes to show you the dunk contest is pretty much a joke. They should move the dunk contest before the 3-point contest, in my opinion. It's getting to that point. Or they should just scrap it and find something new that'll excite the crowd. Because last year, I don't even think we got one dunk that was that I could remember that was good. We didn't get one. And I already know tomorrow it's gonna be absolutely horrible. I don't even know why I'm gonna watch it, but I'm gonna watch it. And I'm going to put my money on Mac McClung.
Yeah, I think I was between him and then I'm going to go KJ Martin Jr. I think that he has, sneaky athleticism that we've seen flashes of in games, but I feel like McClung has the highest upside to do something crazy, but I feel like it might be too crazy to where he can't pull it off if it's something that he's trying to do that we've never seen before. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, I'm going with Kenyon Martin Jr. in this dunk contest. But yeah, I'm not. Hopefully it's a lot better than last year. Which it's not. The bar wasn't set high wasn't set high last year, so it wouldn't really say that much if it is better. But yeah, so. Now we're gonna since we don't have the teams for the All-Star game, we're gonna do our own kind of mock draft where we're Giannis, LeBron, and we're we do what we would do. So Curry, you can get the number 1 pick. I guess we'll do the starters first and then the reserves, even though they announced I think it was today or yesterday that they're gonna do the reserves first and then the starters, but we can just do the starters first and then the reserves.
Yeah, I feel like we should do the starters first. So I'm going to be LeBron, and with my first pick, look, I feel like out of all the starters here, I feel like this one has been playing, really, really consistently, and they pair well with LeBron's ability to just drive into the lane. And, you need a shooter. And I'm going to go with one of the more consistent shooters all year. He's been doing it amazingly. I'm going to go with Luka. I'm going to take Luka. I feel like that's a great pick. I feel like Luka is playing at an MVP status almost every game that he goes on the court with. And he can pull up from anywhere now. And it's getting to that point where, he is ascending himself as to one of the greatest shooters and really going up that ladder and that stature. So I'm going to take Luka with my first pick.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at the starters, I think I'm going to go with Embiid. Obviously, leading the league in scoring, or at least he was. I assume he still is. And just his ability to, the ability that he has to either drive or step back at his size, I think is ridiculous. So I'm going to go with Embiid to pair with Giannis.
Yeah, no, that size inside is actually ridiculous. Joel Embiid, obviously, you said I think he is the leading scorer in the NBA. I think he's averaging 33 a game, which is actually still ridiculous. And you pair him with Giannis and his just dominance on the court. I feel like, that's definitely a good advantage there. My second pick, I'm going to go with this guy. I feel like even though his off the court issues are very, very controversial, on the court, he's one of the best point guards. He just teamed up with one of my first picks, and he's been former teammates with my captain. I'm going to go with Kyrie Irving. the way he has been playing before he even got to Dallas has been amazing. He's been on the court. He's been one of the best point guards that we've seen this year. And he's been continually doing it. He definitely has that advantage of also being teammates with Luka and LeBron. And, they have that chemistry there. I know you can say, oh, it's controversial. Why would you take Kyrie? But I feel like Kyrie is on the court. He is definitely one of the best players to ever do it. Just in terms of his ability to get to the basket, find the hoop, his crossover, his handles, top. It's top. So I'm going to go with Kyrie number 2.
Can't fault you there. I'm going to go with Jason Tatum. Obviously, the best player on the team with the best record, or the best record in the East. I'm not sure who's better between the Nuggets and Celtics record-wise, but obviously we've seen him drop 30 on a near nightly basis this season, some 40-point games, I think 8 to 40-point games. So I'm going to go with Tatum.
Yeah, you can't falter there. I feel like Jason Tatum has been, one of the reasons as to why this Boston Celtics team is still first place, just with his ability on offense. So I like that pick there. You pair him up with Embiid and Giannis, and that's definitely talent-wise. That's definitely talented. For my third round pick, it's kind of crazy that this guy fell all the way down to 3, but it's just because of my team chemistry. I'm going to go with the reigning MVP here. I'm going to go with Nikola Jokic.
I was going to take him, but I couldn't do Embiid and Jokic on the same team. So
yeah, so I will gladly take him. Thank you for letting me slide all the way down to 3. I'm going to take Jokic. I mean, I see where you're coming from. The fact that, if you would have had Embiid or Jokic, that would have been crazy. But, the fact that this man is he's the reigning MVP. He is the reason why Denver is so good. Yes, Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are great scorers, but if you don't have Jokic, you're not winning games in Denver. So I'm definitely going to take Jokic in my 3rd spot.
I'm going to take my point guard here in Ja. Obviously, you don't have to say much about what he can do. I believe he was an starter replacement for it would be Curry in the West. So yeah, I'll take Ja.
Yeah, I feel like Ja is a solid pick. I feel like obviously he was a replacement for Steph who got injured, but he's definitely a solid starter by himself. I believe that he is definitely the embodiment of Memphis, and he definitely can get it done. And we'll see how fine in the West he is, anyways. But to start this round, I'm gonna take another shooter, and after his 71-point performance, I can't really look anywhere. I'm gonna go with Donovan Mitchell. He's definitely been balling out in Cleveland, and after that trade, it's looking like Utah really made a mistake there. But at the same time, they definitely had to get rid of Donovan or Gobert. They got rid of both of them. And, the Knicks were so close on Mitchell, and they're paying for it because Donovan Mitchell is pretty much leading this Cavaliers team. So I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell.
Yep, so that leaves me with former Arizona Wildcat, Bear Down, Lauri Markkanen. So that would be, so I got Giannis, Embiid, Jason Tatum, John Morant, and Lauri Markkanen. So I'll start off with the reserves. I think I picked him to win the contest earlier. I'm going to go with Damian Lillard. One of the best pure scorers and shooters, in the league, obviously. So I'll have him as my first reserve off the bench.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Damian Lillard has been amazing this year. And, as of recently, he's been a star. So I definitely would say that's a solid pick right there to start off the reserves. I'm looking right at someone who has just been consistently scoring, for their team. And even though their team has not been, to the level of how they've been playing, I feel like just the fact that he is an all-star this year, averaging so many points and has been consistently slept on for no reason. I'm going to go with SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I feel like he is just so talented, right? And no one really recognizes that because he's in OKC and they're a rebuilding franchise. So, but he is the star of that franchise right now. And I'm going to go with SGA just because even though, yes, the talent around him is not, up to the level where he is, I feel like he's still a star in himself and he's constantly proved it back-to-back years. So I'm going to go with SGA.
Yeah, he's been, I mean, I'm sure he'll be the most improved player, you would assume, obviously. And he's kind of the reason why the Thunder, they're still kind of in that play-in, at least have a chance of the play. And then you add Chet next year, and they should be really, really, they should be a playoff team at the very least next year if they don't sneak in this year. Looking at who else is available in the reserves, I think I'm going to go with another big man who's kind of one of the big reasons why they are, I think, number 3 in the West. I'm going to go with Sabonis. He's like a walking double-double at this point, leads the league in rebounds. So I'm going to go with Sabonis.
Damn, I was going to pick Sabonis next, too. That's why. Oh, I was going to take Sabonis. I like that pick. I feel like he is a walking double-double. You're right. And he's been consistently proving it. And he is definitely a star in himself. And, he's definitely been doing a great job. I definitely will like that pick for you right there. Now I have to pivot somewhere else because I was going to pick him next too. But I will.
Wait, do we know who's the replacement? Because isn't DeRozan hurt?
I believe he is, but I don't know if he's getting a replacement yet. I haven't heard anything about DeRozan's replacement.
I just realized that, so I didn't know if I missed anything about an announcement for him or not.
No. You're right. I didn't hear anything about DeRozan's replacement. Because I know he got injured, so I don't know if he's gonna be replaced yet. I mean, he probably will. We'll probably hear some announcement, I guess.
Well, I guess we'll also assume he's playing for the purpose of this, just because we don't know, obviously.
Yeah, and obviously we're kind of assuming the same thing with Giannis, obviously, because he got injured. So with that, I'm going to take DeMar DeRozan. Assuming that, I'm going to take DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, he's been the star for that Bulls team, obviously, before he just got injured. But still, he has been one of the great. He's been one of the more consistent shooters, and he consistently just knows how to find the basket. And even though there's been so many issues with that whole, kind of franchise for the Bulls, the fact that, they still have a consistent scorer in DeMar DeRozan, I feel like that's definitely, something to brag about, even though right now on the outside looking in, DeMar DeRozan right now averaging 25, you can't really complain about that. 25 and 5. I'm not going to complain about that. I'm going to take DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, absolutely. The Bulls have definitely been, disappointing as a team this year, but DeRozan's still kind of been doing his thing individually. So I'm kind of looking at my starting lineup, and I realize how big my lineup is starting lineup-wise. So I'm kind of looking for more guards here off the bench, and I think I'm gonna take someone who's probably, this might be earlier than most people think, but I mean he didn't even make the reserves. He was an injury replacement, but I thought that he should have been a no-brainer. And, you have the chemistry with someone else that I took as a reserve. I'm going to go with De'Aaron Fox. I thought it was crazy that he wasn't, reserved in the voting to begin with. Obviously, it is what it is. He made it, and he deserved it. And so I'm going to go with De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, I kind of expected you would do that. I knew that that's a solid pick right there. I believe also that he is someone who definitely should have made the All-Star at least reserve list before he was an injury replacement. But he is an injury replacement, so that doesn't matter. But at least he's here, and at least he made it. You can't really complain about that. I'm gonna take, since I'm looking at my size as well, and my size is not as what I was expecting. I do need some big men, and this guy also is a replacement guy, and he's been really consistent. Even though there were, I think, trade rumors for him earlier in the season, and right now they're in the playoff, they're in the play-in right now. Yes, but I'm gonna take Pascal Siakam. Siakam has been definitely the star once again for this Toronto Raptors team. Even with Van Vliet kind of falling off a little bit, Siakam's still averaging 25, 7, and 6, which is actually ridiculous. And he's been definitely been one of the bigger stars for that excuse me, for that Toronto team that is still kind of competing, but yet in a really hard Eastern Conference. So I'm gonna take Siakam.
Yeah, I was surprised that he was even in the trade talks to begin with, but obviously the Raptors kind of kept everyone. So that was that. So I think I'm gonna keep up the pattern of teammate chemistry with one of my starters. I'm gonna take Jaylen Brown here. He's another kind of big reason why the Celtics are. I think they're tied for first in the East right now, and they've kind of Tatum, kind of been the leader of the team, but in games for Tatum, the few games for Tatum has kind of not totally shown up. Jaylen Brown has really stepped up himself. Now that I think about it, was Jaylen Brown hurt too, or is he back? Because didn't he get hurt when Tatum hit him in the face like a week ago or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that was I know he has, I think, like a facial contusion or something like that. Last I heard it was day to day, but I know he's been out for a week, but I think that was the max he was supposed to be out. I don't know.
I'm seeing like February 10th, 1 week ago, it said he a facial fracture, and we'll provide an update in 1 week, which is today. So obviously we're assuming these guys are all playing obviously with this, so we'll go with that.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know any of the current injuries that like recently just happened with Giannis and Jaylen Brown and DeMar DeRozan. So we don't really have any updates for that. But I feel like it's a solid pick. He's definitely been the complementary to Jason Tatum, the one, and you can't really go wrong there. I'm going to get another shooter on this team, and I feel like this guy, he definitely should have been a starter as well, but got snubbed. I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards. I feel like that's someone, who definitely should have been, an all-star and, got snubbed, but, I'm glad that he is one now. He's been definitely doing his thing. He's averaging 24 and 5 for a Minnesota team that, is kind of focused around him shooting-wise, and Karl-Anthony Towns with Gobert more of the defensive presence. I definitely I like this pick for me. I'm taking Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of just pure excitement to watch, I think Edwards is up there in terms of, just a player that, a breakaway dunk or whatever, he can drop 30 plus on any given night as well. So definitely one of the more young and up and coming players, in the NBA today. I'm going to go with someone who I was a little bit surprised that they made the All-Star reserves, but they've kind of been playing a little bit better lately, and that's Paul George, someone that can just kind of get you a bucket. Obviously, he's missed quite a bit of games, this season, but he and Kawhi have kind of been playing quite a bit, I want to say, as of late to end the first half of the season for the Clippers, so I'm going to go with Paul George.
Yeah, you can't really. I mean, yes, he has not been playing, fantastic, but the fact that he has been playing a lot better as of late. I feel like that definitely adds a lot of value, and the way the Clippers, really dominated that trade deadline, and as well, I feel like that definitely compliments to him as well. And I think that's a solid pick, but I'm gonna go with some more inside presence. This guy's also a walking double-double in Miami. I'm gonna go with Bam Adebayo. I feel like Bam Adebayo, even with Jimmy Butler, right now, I feel like Bam Adebayo, is the solid 2, even though he's not as dominant as, previous years. He's still a dominant force inside, and, he is pretty much a walking double-double as well. I'm going to go with Bam Adebayo.
For sure. So we're getting down to the last 4 reserves available. I think I'm going to go with Tyrese Halliburton here. Like I said, my starting lineup is really big overall, so I'm kind of focused more on guard play with my reserves here on my bench. And Halliburton got off to like a really, really good start to the season. Then he had an injury where he missed, I want to say, a couple of weeks, but he's back in full force now. The Pacers have really, really dropped as a team, record-wise, but Halliburton's still doing his thing overall. So I'm going to go with Tyrese.
Yeah, I feel like that's a solid pick right there. Tyrese has been definitely doing his thing, and complementing your guard play. He's been doing a lot. He's been doing really good for this Pacers team. Going with my tradition right now, I need some more bigs, potentially scoring bigs, and there's two of them left, and out of the two I like one more than the other. I feel like one should not have be there, and one is there, but I feel like is a lot better than the other option. I'm gonna go with Julius Randle. I feel like Julius Randle is a solid piece. He definitely has that scoring ability with his left hand and his shooting. For the Knicks, and I feel like him and Jalen Brunson have been playing great together. With their record right now, currently sixth in the East right now, and Randall right now averaging 24 and 10, another averaging a double double. Having a great year. And after a lot of people were on him a lot for his disappointing season last year, to bounce back this season and have someone on your side with Jalen Brunson's scoring ability, you can't really go wrong. So I'm gonna go with Julius Randle.
Yeah, we're now the final two players I didn't think would be reserves, but here we are. Um, Obviously, I've kind of focused more on guard play on my bench overall, so I'll kind of go with more size and Jaren Jackson. I mean, if you look at the game log, he's averaging like over 3 blocks a game, which is pretty crazy. I think I looked in like 5 of his last 6 games, he's had like 4+ blocks. So I'll add that defensive presence at the end of my bench.
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard about this rumor, but there's this the Reddit user who was saying that Jaren Jackson was, I guess his numbers at home are a little fishy than on the road, but that's all speculation. I believe I feel like you could put in Anthony Davis and kind of someone else above Jaren Jackson, but who's to blame there? And same for my last pick, Drew Holiday. I feel like you could have had anyone, whether it was a Jalen Brunson or someone else be a reserve instead of Drew Holiday. But Drew Holiday's defensive presence, kind of elevates his game to the next level in a way, even though he's not even averaging like 20 a game. So I'm going to go with Drew Holiday to round out my team that is very, very high scoring.
Yeah, so I guess we can just read off our teams real quick. So my starting lineup is Giannis, Embiid, Jason Tatum, John Morant, and Lauri Markkanen off the bench. I have Damian Lillard, Jaylen Brown, De'Aaron Fox, Paul George, Tyrese Halliburton, Domantas Sabonis, and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my team again, and my starting five. So I have LeBron James, followed by Luka, Kyrie Irving, Nikola Jokic, and Donovan Mitchell. And then my bench consists of SGA, DeMar DeRozan, Pascal Siakam, Anthony Edwards, Bam Adebayo, Julius Randle, and Drew Holiday.
Yep. So I think that will do it for today's episode. We'll see.
Also, one more thing. If you guys can, who has the better team? I personally believe my team's a little better than Ari's over there. But who? I mean, we're not to judge. If you guys have an opinion on who you think is the better team, leave it down. Leave a comment on who had the better team, whether it's Team Ari or Team KP. And we'll see how it goes on Sunday. But if those are the two teams, Ari, I'm gonna be a little surprised.
Yeah, for sure. I think that they kind of have a different mindset of drafting, obviously playing alongside those players. So we'll see how that all plays out. So we'll see you guys next, probably on Monday, where we'll kind of get into some other sports. We'll talk about All-Star Weekend and get into a new week of college basketball. I think NBA starts up kind of mid to late next week, so we'll get into that. And then we're right around the corner once again for baseball. We have the pitch and catches report for spring training. So we'll be getting into all of that in the next, 1 to 2 weeks and everything. So thank you all for tuning in. We hope you all have a great weekend, and we will catch you all next week.